Over the past year, there's been extensive coverage of the Boston Marathon bombings and its aftermath. Much of that focus has rightly been on those healing from horrific wounds suffered that day. But the Boston Globe's Geoff Edgers noticed a handful of people who've been overlooked. That became the basis of a new documentary, 5 Runners.
Demi, Howard, Mary, Volker, and Brian. Do they look familiar? They should. These 5 were crossing the finish line as the first bomb exploded. Captured from every angle, they became the accidental stars of a horrific video clicked on by 50 million people. This is their story.
The documentary was produced by the Boston Globe and premieres this Monday on Nessun. And I'm joined now by Boston Globe arts reporter Geoff Edgers, who co-directed the film. Welcome. So this is a different perspective. You said, you thought those people should look familiar. I have to say I was so riveted on the bomb that I never really noticed the people in the forefront. How did you come to focus on them?
Well, maybe this is because I'm an arts reporter, but at a newspaper, major newspaper, I'm always trying to figure out how to get involved in our stories that are important. And as a Bostonian, as somebody who's run the marathon, I wanted to be part of this coverage. And so what am I looking at? I know everybody's looking to the right of the screen with the smoke and the explosion. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these people and I'm thinking, these people are going to be clicked on, it turns out, about 50 million times. And what was going on in their minds and what were they thinking? And so I reached out and contacted them, wrote a story about them, and just kept in touch.
Were they all cooperative? Do they all want to participate?
None of them were uncooperative, but I don't think any of them understood what they were getting into. I mean, I don't think the paper understood what it was getting into. They didn't understand that I was going to go and visit them several times, that I was going to pry into their lives, frankly, ask them questions that might have made them uncomfortable. But they were really wonderful people, collectively. And in the end, I feel like it's the story of those people that drives this.
Were any of them injured in any way? Did they have any hearing loss? Did they have any after effects at all?
I think the short answer is no. I think whatever they went through, whether it was a little bit of a hearing loss or just, the shock of the moment and the trauma of the moment, it obviously, and they've said this a million times and I would too, it just doesn't compare to any of the physical injuries that people, experienced at the finish line. What they experienced was something that I think is more universal, is the psychological pain, and something that you can't really put your finger on, and it varies from person to person. They just were obsessively driven with getting back here to run this race again, to finish it sort of on their terms.
Well, we have a little clip, as a matter of fact, from your documentary. This is Mary Jenkins, and she's making that point, saying how she just felt the need and the pull to come back this year. Let's listen to that.
I just kept telling Kenny, my husband, I have to get back to Boston. I don't care what I have to do to get back there. There's unfinished business there. And I said, I have to show them that, they couldn't hurt the spirit of the Boston Marathon.
Where's Mary from?
Mary's from Central Ohio, and she inspects thousands of bearings at a car parts plant. Lives a very normal life, has a couple sons, but she was so driven to get back, I'll tell you, that she ran so hard to re-qualify for Boston that her leg actually broke. She had and had to stop completely running.
But is she running now or no?
Well, I don't want to give away the ending, but she is. She physically recovered, and just had to stop running for a long time.
And what about the others? Have they decided what they're going to do?
Well, you'll see in the film.
I will.
Don't give away the ending, but they're all driven, and they have a lot to overcome beyond physical issues. I mean, Howard Mays, one of our characters, he was having heart problems before the race and ended up having a pacemaker put in during the time after the race. We were in the operating room filming that, and Howard desperately wanted to get back as well. And it's hard to get back, not only just as a runner, but also this year there's more of a demand for entries into the Boston Marathon than ever before.
Without giving away the ending, have any of them expressed any reluctance, trepidation, concern, nervousness about not just the finish line, but the course itself?
I think they all feel like it was not something that can happen again. but I think everybody has a natural tendency. You know, they talk about jumping when they hear a noise or a siren or whatever. I mean, it's a natural thing. And I think we're all going through this, which is, I don't know how you feel about it, but I just want this year to go. I just want it to be over, and I want us to feel like, you know, we can not have that moment in our minds as we get to the end, you know?
What about the fact that you focused on them and they were acknowledging they're fine, other than the psychological damage? I mean, do they feel awkward that here they are in the stars of a Boston Globe documentary, but they weren't the ones that were injured, maimed, killed? They didn't have those effects.
I guess what I would argue is, you know, there are a lot of important stories, and to say that a story about the Richards family or a story about the first responders is not important, I would be lying if I told you it wasn't. I also think that those are being done, and there are also other stories, and maybe this is a more subtle story. It's a different way in. It's just a different piece of a large puzzle, I hope. You know, I hope people will feel that way.
So beyond Nesson, is this going to be available online? Can people catch it?
Yeah, the Globe decided on the one-year anniversary on Tuesday, we're going to put it up for free for forever. We're going to stream it on bostonglobe.com.
That's great. All right, Geoff Edgers, good luck, and I know you have a screening tonight. Good luck with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.